Let me start this video off by asking you a question. Before your first win, or even your first kill, how is it that you found Fortnite? Alright, most of us, we saw someone else playing it, on YouTube and on Twitch, or at home through a sibling or a friend. My first experience with Fortnite was on some random night in the spring of 2018. My brother was in Tilted Towers with the iconic mission specialist, that beautiful orange astronaut, alright, going ham on the bottom floor of Trump Tower. And honestly, the finer details don't really matter that much, because what stuck out to me about Fortnite was the art style.
WTF this Disney game, bro. This is the Disney Battle Royale, okay?
Early Fortnite thrived by standing out from the crowd. It was goofy and cartoonish, unashamedly so, with clouds of smoke falling behind a player as they ran and the old explosion effects. There was a lot of charm to the game, and while no, Fortnite isn't going to be mistaken as another generic or realistic shooter from the 2010s akin to Call of Duty now, Epic Games using Fortnite Battle Royale as a technical showcase for the capabilities of the Unreal Engine has led to a definite, if gradual, shift in art direction for Fortnite. To begin, we must first understand that Fortnite, in its inception, bordered on being a full-on horror game. The initial designs showcased by Epic Games for Fortnite, up to about 2018, show a realistic world flooded with downright disturbing Lovecraftian figures alongside the generic zombie idea that they had in mind. But the art designers at Epic Games eventually realized that their plans for an elaborate grid-based building system would never work in a realistic setting. As such, they took after games like Borderlands and Team Fortress 2 to begin development on the timeless art style that we now have in Fortnite today. Still, even after drifting entirely away from the horror genre, implementing elements of science fiction and otherwise just fun stuff that would be out of place in a more serious game, Fortnite's developers still did their best to keep the universe grounded. Grenades are blue because of the sci-fi substance that is blue glow. The logic, while obviously not realistic, was consistent, and it made the game feel grounded. And this world needs saving, you're gonna be the one who has a blast saving it, but it's still a world where 98% of the population vanished overnight. There's a sense of melancholy to it all, one that beckons you to explore further, and I think this is best represented in the original home base theme for Save the World. Epic Games had been toying with the idea for a PvP mode for Fortnite since 2015, and so with the release of Battle Royale in 2017, they were ready to create something coherent with the existing universe of Save the World. This direction continued into Battle Royale throughout what many would consider to be the first peak of Fortnite. Save for some minor tweaking to the setting and art style, Season 3 built thematically on the groundwork set in stone by previous seasons and by Save the World. Sure, there were more sci-fi elements than ever before in Battle Royale, and the space theming is a perfect example of this, but again, Fortnite, long before the release of Save the World, was a game that played with science fiction as much as it did the genre of the zombie apocalypse. No, the problem started at the end of Season 3. With the introduction to the meteor and the start of Battle Royale's story, Epic Games slowly traded the dark, goofy, and outlandish, but ultimately grounded concepts built by Save the World for an excess of science fiction elements. Obviously, I don't think this is a bad thing by any means. They wanted to break through any monotony or burnout for their player base and their own developers, and honestly, it was successful in making seasons feel fresh, and it absolutely worked at the time. By introducing concepts like rifts and the multiverse, they could do feasibly whatever they wanted to with Fortnite, introducing pirates in Season 8, for example. But as the developers loosened the restraints of what could exist in the universe of Fortnite, their own concepts for gameplay, too, would grow distant from the original image of Battle Royale. With this distance comes new items like the Infinity Blade and the mechs that would be added in, ultimately leaving the community in a divided state about their inclusion. Fortnite had lost the simplicity that most originally fell in love with, and with the end of the decade just around the corner, Epic Games was ready to change a whole lot more than just the basic concepts of Fortnite's universe. Behind the scenes and in the real world, the staff at Epic Games realized that most of the models used in the Chapter 1 map had literally been around since 2011. This was 9 years ago at this point, and it was time for an overhaul, both because the developers believed they could do better, but also because Epic Games wanted to use Fortnite to showcase new advancements in Unreal Engine's technology, and they couldn't really do that with 10-year-old models. Fortnite would shut down for 3 long days. It was time for a new beginning. Chapter 2 started off with a black hole swallowing the old map, and with it the assets of Chapter 1. After 3 whole days, players flocked to the game once more, and everything was new, fresh and exciting, but personally speaking it felt like something was missing. Much of the cartoony assets of the first chapter were remade entirely, with most sacrificing the quirks of design that initially gave them character, the iconic rocks of Fortnite being perhaps the most obvious example of this. They were initially designed sometime back in 2012, and their distinct, damages were now gone and replaced by these much more generic stones. Bumpy trees with jagged and sharp turns in their stump were suddenly turned into normal-looking trees out of any other game of the generation, and while this might not seem like too much on paper, the deformation of straight and clean assets into more exaggerated and cartoony assets was literally one of the very first things that the developers did to create Fortnite's now iconic art style. In a way, they'd begun to phase out the very thing that made Fortnite look unique. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You can still tell that this game is in fact Fortnite, and look at this C-Day footage. This snowstorm looks absolutely beautiful. But after that 3-day downtime, it just felt like a major guiding force for the game's direction had been lost. Without that same clear attention placed on the game's overall style and theming as when Fortnite first launched, the game was now missing a piece of its soul. Fortnite began to feel a little bit more corporate.
Hello everyone in Fortnite, I'm Jeff Keighley, and this is an unprecedented event we've all gathered for. Millions of us from around the world for an exclusive scene premiere from Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
With an ever-widening gap between newcomers and the so-called sweats, they followed in line with other multiplayer shooters by implementing a skill-based matchmaking system, and worse, robots. Now you can go entire games playing against literally just robots that most of the time aren't very challenging to fight, only to end up in a 1v1 against another real player at your same skill level by the end of the game, and because you've been fighting robots the whole time, you're not ready to fight an actual human, much less one who is maybe better than you, or solely playing to win. No longer was there the option to mess about with niche mechanics and troll newer players with them, or get up to some funny antics in a lobby with a random person across the entire continent that you would have no way of interacting with had you just not been playing on the same Fortnite server at that given time. And truthfully speaking, it does feel like part of Fortnite's soul is gone now, because yes, it's still the same dancing simulator, but you can't dance with other players now in the Battle Royale mode. You have to go and play ranked if you want to actually consistently play against other players. But you have to get into higher lobbies to avoid bots in general, and in those higher lobbies, there's not going to be too many people trying to get up to some funny antics on a Tuesday night. Regardless, with the intentionally bare bones Chapter 2 Season 1 being over double the length of most other seasons, the developers had quite literally all the time in the world to come up with fun concepts for the second season of this new chapter, and Season 2 would be completely dedicated to an outlandish theme. It would be themed around secret agents. The additional development time allowed Epic Games to introduce 5 new major job spots, each of which containing one of Fortnite's very first bosses. And yes, for the first time ever in Battle Royale mode, mythic weaponry. But unlike previous and future failures of Season X and the soon-to-be Fortnite Primal, because the development team had so much time to work here, they were given the full opportunity to explore their vision, and so the developers created something that was not only fun to play, but also something that was extremely refreshing. And this, for a lot of people, was Fortnite's second peak. The spy theming was perfect for a game like Fortnite. It's not something too abstract, not something too game-changing, but it's something that feels grounded. A fairly realistic concept with a lot of wiggle room for the cartoonish slapstick that Fortnite can provide at its peak. It's I mean, there's a buff cat with muscles. It's not something out of James Bond by any means, but it's definitely not anything out of the ordinary for the World of Fortnite's second chapter by this point. So let's really quickly recap. Season 2 was perfect because the developers were given a third of a year to develop new systems and new points of interest entirely built around a single grounded theme. A theme that still allowed for cartoonish slapstick, but ultimately still feels comparable to the original couple of seasons of Fortnite. Now, while all of this was fine and good, absolutely dandy, some may say, in the middle of it all was a yacht floating off the northeast corner of the Chapter 2 island. And on this yacht was a character that everyone seemed to either look right past or pay no notice of. But the implications of this character's inclusion here would be a sign of what was to come. This character was a boss, and would ultimately lead to a change in direction for Fortnite so ludicrous that the entire game would be permanently altered. And this character, aboard this seemingly random yacht, was the secret skin of the season, Deadpool. Now, on the surface, this doesn't seem like anything too crazy. I mean, with the state that Fortnite's been in for about 3 years, whatever, it's fine, it's just a collaboration skin. But to truly understand the monumentality of this event, you need the context.
What we do here is go back.
1 year earlier, toward the end of Season 7, Fortnite hosted a major collaboration with the electronic music artist Marshmello. And this soon ushered in a wave of corporate collaborations entirely unseen in the gaming medium up until this point. Before this, Epic Games had hosted a temporary LTM mode with Marvel to celebrate the release of Avengers Infinity War. But outside of a few Easter eggs pointing toward other films like Wreck-It Ralph and It was rare to see Fortnite collaborate with anyone. This was the absolute peak of it, a single LTM and a couple of Easter eggs. But now, we got Marshmello here. A whole live event dedicated to him. On the surface, again, this feels like nothing today. But at the time, for them to close down Battle Royale mode for 30 minutes, put the spotlight on this other brand, and then release skins in the Fortnite item shop based around this other character, I mean, it was entirely unthinkable back then. And one season later, in Season 8, Marvel would step back into the ring, and Fortnite would collaborate with them once more, this time including skins for several Marvel characters. The floodgates were open. The amount of profit that this collaboration probably generated just by adding skins of a couple of fan-favorite characters to Fortnite was probably unimaginable. And in Season 9, we got John Wick, Stranger Things, and of all things, Air Jordan, in the item shop with skins. By Season 10, we got Tilted Towers turning into Gotham City with Batman being added to Fortnite, and the desert biome would have a Pandora area themed around Borderlands. Now, this was absolutely monumental at the time, and I cannot understate that. These collaborations had begun to affect the gameplay of Fortnite, and after Chapter 2, Season 2, every single Battle Pass would go on to feature a collab skin. In Season 2, it was Deadpool. In Season 3, it was Aquaman. But the problem really comes in Season 4. There wasn't just one collab skin this time around. No, the entire Battle Pass was themed around Marvel. The entire storyline was themed around Marvel. The gameplay was disrupted for mythics based off of Marvel characters. It was called the Marvel Season. Competitive events at the highest rank of play were now determined by who would make it out of Tony Stark's Industries alive. You can't make this up. And while most people do place it highly as one of the best seasons to ever release, gameplay-wise, I can't comment on that because I didn't play it. I don't think it's a stretch to say that Fortnite had jumped the shark here, and completely strayed from its original identity. The next season, Chapter 2, Season 5, would set 3 precedents for the future of Fortnite. First, this Battle Pass featured the Lexa outfit, which is a Fortnite skin fully designed using cell shading to mimic the art style of various anime. We'd gotten cell shading before, starting I think with the Borderlands collaboration in Season 9, but an entire skin using it this way was a first, and it was in the Battle Pass no less. Second, This one season of Fortnite had more collaborations than the entire first chapter. There were 14 different individual collaborations this season compared to 12 in the first chapter. 2 of which, Star Wars and the Predator movies, got skins in the Battle Pass via The Mandalorian and the Predator. For the next couple of seasons, the Battle Pass would include up to 3 crossover skins. While the Battle Pass system had always played on people's fear of missing out, of course, now you're not just missing out on a original Fortnite character like Omega, you're missing out on the opportunity of ever playing as frickin' Spider-Man again, or Darth Vader again, or The Mandalorian, or Raven from Teen Titans, or Lara Croft, or Superman, or Rick frickin' Sanchez. Dude, what is this? Now, with the release of Chapter 5 Season 4, I should note that Epic Games is actually making it so that future Battle Pass items are no longer exclusive to their Battle Pass, and this just so happens to coincide with the release of Fortnite's second Marvel season. Now, this is a good thing, of course, with the fear of missing out always being a major element for people buying the Battle Pass every season. But dude, it's such an end of an era. I think these crossovers were also why most of the Battle Passes after like Chapter 2, Season 2 were kind of mediocre. Like, obviously, nothing's ever gonna be as iconic as, like, the Dark Knight or the Reaper, because they were the first. But, I mean, again, when you have Superman and Rick Sanchez, or Darth Vader and Indiana Jones in the same Battle Pass, everything else is gonna be overshadowed anyway, right? So why even bother? And, I mean, yeah, these examples are a little bit hand-picked. Not every Battle Pass has been this bad. But if you think of the first chapter of Season 3, you're gonna remember it as the one with Spider-Man, alright? Like, that's all you're gonna remember, because these Battle Passes are mediocre at best recently. Season OG is the only season since Chapter 2 Season 2 that hasn't included a single collab skin, and that's because it was entirely focused on the first chapter of Fortnite, and while to be fair it only had 70 Battle Pass tiers compared to the usual 100, I've used all of these skins before, because they genuinely look pretty good. And you might say, yeah, well, you're biased, because all of these skins are based on older skins, which, 1, you might have nostalgia for, and 2, were chosen because they already looked good. And you know what, you're right. But don't you think that the reason these skins look so good is because they're made in the art style that Fortnite was initially designed around? And that's because art style matters. Chapter 5, while by no means is trying to make Fortnite look like Call of Duty, the new graphics being focused more on grime and darker and more muted colors, and just for the most part, more realism than the previous season, save for like Peter Griffin and the one slime god in Season 2. It just looks kinda ugly, if I'm gonna be honest, and the content creator CypherPK recently released a video in which he got his entire community to rank Fortnite seasons on a scale of 1 to 10, and what he found is very interesting to me. Some of the worst ranking seasons, such as the Primal season, the Wild season, and even more recently the Nitro season, tend to have darker and more muted color palettes than those placing toward the top. You got browns, you got grays, you got ugly desaturated greens. It looks like someone just got sick on the floor and the devs came in like, I know what we're gonna do today. These colors characterize the entire season, and perhaps the more favored seasons leave a better impression in the mind's eye of the player base when looking back fondly, because they have a higher saturation. But seasons with these darker art styles also tend to have some of the most polarizing gameplay changes out of all of the seasons in Fortnite. While some people may like them, some people may hate them, regardless, they've strayed from Fortnite's core identity, both in gameplay and in art style. Because again, and I'd like to state it one more time, art style and more so theming of a game here, it just really can't coexist with this whole metaverse idea for Fortnite. Like, do you remember when Season 4 of Chapter 1 released? They got rid of Dusty Depot and replaced it with a giant hole in the ground, and that was the craziest thing to everyone. And that's because they actually put storytelling into it. They built up the meteor falling down for like a month in advance, and when it finally did, well, it added a whole new POI and brought in a whole new season. And yeah, this still does happen now and again. Take Pandora's Box in Season 2, for example, but the thing is that these chapters and these maps just don't last for long enough for anyone to actually care. what happens is the entire bottom right corner of the map filled with mediocre locations gets completely whopped and turned into a giant sand biome, and I have the same exact expression on my face as when they added Fall Guys to the top right of the map inexplicably with no explanation. If anything, I was more excited about Fall Guys getting added because it was funny. The thing is that there just, quite literally, is no time for us to care about these POIs getting added or removed or modified over a single year with each of these maps, especially if they want to do something like this twice a chapter. No more do things feel grounded. There is no sense of congruency between individual updates, let alone seasons. The seasons go from, you've got a depiction of hell, and on the opposite side of the map there's a desert. The next season, that a desert and the center of the map becomes I guess the upside down from the one Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And then Jack Sparrow comes in, and then Fall Guys comes in, and then the next season after that they add Tony Stark and Doctor Doom, and now we've got, like, a red version of Hell, and Billy the Puppet from Saw for some reason. There's no character to this map, it's just brand deal after brand deal informing the progression of the Fortnite map. Like, it's not like I totally hate brand deals or anything for Fortnite, I get it, they're building toward a metaverse, whatever, but please leave the metaverse stuff in creative and actually build the Battle Royale map off of your own storytelling, not just, oh yeah, we just signed a brand deal with Batman again. Then again, with Fortnite transitioning to becoming a genuine metaverse, how much does one single map really matter? How long will Battle Royale mode even end up lasting? Frankly, who knows? It is sincerely unfortunate, though, that if you've been playing Fortnite for more than one season, there's a high probability that your own personal favorite version of Fortnite will never be playable again, at least legally. Fortnite doesn't allow players to recreate full maps for any Battle Royale season past Chapter 1, even creating reimaginings are against their own terms of service. And that's unfortunate because truly this game that we all grew to love back in 2018, 2019, 2020 during the second chapter, during the quarantine, during the pandemic, will never be the same game ever again. And that's unfortunate. So, moral of the story, enjoy what you love while you can. And that goes for everything in life. How am I getting deep meaning from Fortnite, dude? I don't know. Go hug your mother. Now, after 40 hours of editing this video, I've just realized that 1, I put way too much time into this video, but also 2, the moral here is the same as the CSOM video, so I'm officially washed, go watch that, and yeah, new moral, it's time to iterate. Iteration is good, unless you overdo it, and then it can be very bad because you've gone way too far in some places. Let's make it quick. Recommendation for this video is Rewind Royale, a creative map which it basically just recreates the first chapter's map and lighting and gameplay, and it's really well done. They're on Season 5 right now, they're going through all the seasons of the first chapter, and yeah, you can just log into Fortnite and load this up right now because it's a creative map, and it's got like 60-70 players on at peak hours, just like in one single lobby, which is crazy. There's like 2,000 people playing at once. At least that's what I saw, like, a day or two after the update release, because they just released Season 5, so go play this while there's still some hype around it. I was having a blast, personally. Unfortunately, it is only solo mode, but on the other hand, there is Siphon, so it's definitely got some creative liberties made for it just to function, but it's also really well done, and hats off to the dev team for this. I should specify that I am in no way affiliated with this project at all. I'm just a big fan of their work, so go play Rewind Royale. Of course, you don't have to download this from like a third-party website or anything. Again, map code is on screen now. See if that lands. And it landed. No way. He's one tap. Dude, I'm the best. I'm the best. You can't beat me in old Fortnite. This is my game. You know, just make sure you hit that subscribe button for ya boy. And, yeah, like if you liked it, comment, and check out the CSOM video if you want to do that. It's a good video. And that'll be all. Peace out, lads. Have a good one.